Welcome back to Euro Football Daily, where today we'll be looking into 10 players who were set for stardom until one match ruined it all. 10. Alex Song. Alex Song's career path can be simply put into 5 words: the rise and the fall, as after one match the Cameroonian couldn't stop spiralling down. Barcelona had acquired the midfielder from Arsenal for £15 million after a stellar season in which he bagged 12 assists. He was brought in to beef up a midfield of Xavi, Iniesta and Fabregas, and although the Blaugrana were in killer form, Song wasn't. Against Celtic in the Champions League, the midfielder made less than 60 passes, whilst Iniesta and Xavi both made over double that, and Busquets, who was suspended, was averaging 90 at the time. But maybe that's because he focused on his defensive work. Well, no, as he only made 1 tackle. Dani Alves made 4 and he spent the majority of the game by Celtic's box. Song was eventually substituted and Barca went on to lose the match 2-1. Song did win the title that season, however he can consider himself very lucky, as he was in a side where Messi scored 91 goals in a calendar year. In fact, he was later voted alongside Luka Modric as the worst signing of the season. One is now arguably the best midfielder in the world, and the other is playing for Rubin Kazan. 9. Martin Palermo. Martin Palermo is an Argentine legend, having scored 81 goals in 102 games for Boca Juniors during his first stint at the club, but all it took was one match to ruin his international career. During the 1999 Copa America, Argentina faced Colombia in what is known as Palermo's most memorable match, in which he gained a world record and one that no footballer wants. 5 minutes into the game, the Albiceleste were awarded a penalty. The Boca player stepped up and hit the crossbar. In the second half, they were awarded another, and he missed the goal completely. But in the 90th minute, they were awarded one final spot kick. Third time lucky, right? Well, no, as his first shot was saved and he was put into the Guinness Book of World Records for missing 3 penalties in a single international match. Palermo didn't play in another national game for over 10 years. He only featured 15 times, scoring 9 goals, but had he scored a hat-trick in 1999, who knows how many he could have played. 8. David Trezeguet. 2006 was a World Cup many people remember very fondly. Zidane's headbutt, England's failure and Ronaldo's wink were just some of the incidents that occurred. But for David Trezeguet, it's a time he'd like to forget. After scoring 23 goals in Serie A for Juventus, the forward joined up with the French squad in Germany, which included the likes of Henry, Vieira and Zinedine Zidane. After just about getting out of the group stages and winning another 3 games to get them to the final, France faced Italy. Les Blues took the lead in under 10 minutes with a Zizou penalty, but before the 20th minute, Materazzi levelled it. And after the famous sending off of one of the world's greatest players, the match went to penalties. Trezeguet, who scored the golden goal against Italy in the Euro 2000 final, hit the crossbar and was the only player not to score from the spot, meaning the Italians were victorious. After that game, the Frenchman would only go on to feature 5 more times for the national squad, and even his club career took a dip, as from 2008 to 2014, he never scored more than 12 goals in one season. 7. Kaká. It's undeniable Kaká was a great player. After all, you don't win a Ballon d'Or for nothing. But after his move to Real Madrid, the Brazilian seemed to live up to his French meaning. The player no one could hate struggled to make a big impact in Spain. Kaká joined the same year as Cristiano Ronaldo, as the Madrid club were trying to reignite the Galactico policy, but the midfielder just couldn't hack it, and his first season in Spain was deemed average. Considering Real spent £67 million, the second highest transfer fee in history at that point, they would have expected more than 17 goal contributions. Kaká could never dream of having the impact of Portuguese teammate Ronaldo, and no more so was this the case than against Barcelona. In his 4 seasons at the Bernabeu, the Brazilian started in El Clasico 4 times, lasted 90 minutes just once and failed to score or assist in a single one, as injuries and poor form marred his spell in the Spanish capital. His final appearance in the derby came in 2013, and although Madrid won the game, they only did so once Kaká left the pitch, and he managed just 1 shot and 11 passes in his 57 minutes on it. That woeful performance truly confirmed his fall from grace, and he left the club that summer. 6. Wojciech Szczęsny. Up until 2015, Wojciech Szczęsny's career at Arsenal had always been decent. The Polish stopper was averaging a clean sheet every 2.5 games, but in a match against Southampton, his career went downhill. On New Year's Day, Arsenal faced the Saints away from home and were looking to make this their 5th game unbeaten. However, when the match kicked off, things didn't go to plan. 34 minutes into the game, the Gunners keeper decided to go into no man's land, which resulted in him being chipped by Mane. And it didn't get much better either, as he was at fault for the second goal too, as he passed the ball straight to Tadic, who netted it a few seconds later. Now, every player has an off day, however, it's what the number 1 did after the match that destroyed his Arsenal career. The then 24-year-old admitted to Arsene Wenger that he'd been smoking in the showers after the game. The Frenchman was alleged to be furious, fining the Pole and making him apologise for his behaviour. Szczęsny never played for Arsenal again in the league or Champions League, being made to sit on the bench for the remainder of the season before being shipped off to Italy. I think it's safe to say you don't f*** with Wenger. 5. Kléberson. Kléberson had joined Manchester United in 2003 as a world champion, but Alex Ferguson quickly learned that purchasing a player with a World Cup winner's medal around his neck does not necessarily equate to a wise investment. With United having won the Premier League the year before, the 24-year-old had a lot of pressure on his shoulders, playing alongside Ryan Giggs and Roy Keane in midfield and linking up with Ronaldo, Forlan and Van Nistelrooy up front. But in his second game for the Red Devils against Southampton, things took a turn for the worst, as Kléberson picked up an injury which kept him out for over 2 months, and when he did finally return, he couldn't get back into the squad. Over the 2 seasons the Brazilian was at United, he made just 20 appearances in the league, hitting the back of the net only 2 times. The midfielder has since moved on to 7 different clubs, with his highest return for one team being just 9 goals. He is currently plying his trade for NASL side Fort Lauderdale Strikers. 4. Iker Casillas. Arguably the best goalkeeper to have ever put on a pair of gloves, Iker Casillas is the pinnacle of every shot stopper's dream, pulling off match-winning highlight reel saves game after game, though for the Spaniard, the 2014 World Cup was a nightmare. As reigning champions, you would have thought Spain would be a force, and in the opening game against the Netherlands, they were expected to win, seeing as they won the Euros 2 years before and were currently ranked number 1 in the world by FIFA. However, when it came to the full-time whistle, things couldn't have gone worse. Although they were winning 1-0 through an Alonso penalty, Robin van Persie had decided to defy gravity by scoring a diving header which opened the floodgates. In the second half, 4 goals were scored, all by Holland, and the Spanish captain was at fault for 2 of them. After the match, Casillas apologised for the defeat and called his performance the worst of his career. The next game against Chile, the keeper started, but again they lost, this time 2-0, and he received criticism for his role in the second goal. In the final group game, he was left on the bench, with Pepe Reina starting. This not only caused his international career to be destroyed, as he eventually became the second choice behind David De Gea, but also spelled trouble at club level, as Florentino Perez began to force him out the squad. At 36 years old, there might not be much time left for the Saint. 3. Massimo Taibi. Keepers seem to be a common theme, and for our next one, we head over to the original Rob Green, Massimo Taibi, who can barely be considered a Manchester United player after only playing 4 games for the club. But what a 4 games they were. After making his debut against Liverpool, things started well, pulling off several great saves and earning man of the match in a 3-2 victory away at Anfield. However, it was his 3rd game for the Red Devils when people realised he wasn't going to last. In a 3-3 draw with Southampton, Taibi conceded a Matt Letizia 25-yard shot, bringing the ball into his body and letting it roll through his legs into the net. The shot stopper seemed to blame the grass, but that didn't stop him from being dubbed as the Blind Venetian. He went on to play just 1 more match for United, a 5-0 loss to Chelsea, their first league defeat in 4 months. 2. Fernando Torres. When there's a list involving great players who turned Fernando Torres is always there. However, had it not been for one certain match, his fortunes may have turned. In 2011, Chelsea bought El Nino for £50 million on the back of the Spaniard's great form at Liverpool, where he contributed to 101 goals in just 142 games. His first 6 months in the side weren't great, only scoring his first goal for the Blues after 903 minutes without hitting the net. The forward made 18 appearances for the club that season, only managing to bag that single goal. However, the 2011-12 campaign was a fresh start, and although he had yet to score his first goal of the season, he was set to face Manchester United, a team he'd previously dominated. It was a rough start for Chelsea as they were 3-0 down by half-time. However, just after the break, Torres was able to score his 2nd ever goal for the West London side. Things started to look promising, and later on in the match, the 27-year-old was through one-on-one with the keeper. After a great bit of skill, all he had to do was place it into an open net. It seemed harder to miss, however somehow the striker missed the goal completely, falling to the ground unable to comprehend what he'd done. Chelsea lost 3-1, and the Spaniard's confidence was shattered. He never managed to score more than 8 goals in a single season, before being shipped off to AC Milan. 1. Jonathan Woodgate. When you look at the career of Jonathan Woodgate and Santiago Munez from goal, there's a lot of similarities. Both had great careers at Newcastle United, both transferred from the Geordie club to Real Madrid, and both had shaky starts to life at the Bernabeu. But for Woodgate, his career at Los Blancos didn't involve scoring from a David Beckham free kick. In fact, his tenure in Madrid barely started. After being bought in August 2004 for £13.4 million, he didn't make his league debut until September 2005, due to battles with various injuries. After being brought on as a substitute against Athletic Bilbao, the Englishman scored a diving header. However, it was into his own net. Now, that's bad enough, but it got worse, as 40 minutes later, the defender was sent off for a second bookable offence. He went on to suffer several more injuries during the season, not allowing him to put a run of games together to make a place in the team, and Sergio Ramos took his position. Woodgate was loaned and eventually sold to Middlesbrough the next season, and only went on to win a League Cup with Spurs in 2008. On top of that, he was voted by readers of Marca as the worst signing of the 21st century. So that was 10 matches that destroyed a player's career. What did you think, and have we missed out on any? Let me know in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this, why not check out Stat Wars, that is on screen right now. And as always guys, don't forget to like and subscribe.